Tree Country 1330 WTRE. Good morning, Mayor Marsh.
Good morning, Emily, and happy Thursday to everyone out there in the Tree City and Decatur County.
That's right. It feels a little like fall today, doesn't it?
We've made a lot of progress on the weather, and if you like fall, great. If you'd rather it be 90, you had your time.
I know.
And if you're waiting on snow, don't talk to us yet.
No, we don't want to talk about the snow. It just went from 90 to chilly fast, but that's okay.
Well, so this morning was Law Officer of the Year at Optimist Club, and Doug Orr, who's the president, was telling some terrible jokes. That one of them was about how it went from 90 to 65 faster than somebody seeing a state trooper. And we were grateful to have State Superintendent Anthony Scott with us this morning. So he got a little bit of a shout out, maybe not the right reasons.
Right. What a way to present that,
That's
right?
Exactly.
Yes. Well, it's been a busy week.
It's been here and there, I guess you could say. There's been some, bigger items and some smaller stuff that's come along. So I guess we'll start with, sort of some of the breaking news from yesterday and overnight. You covered it here at 7 o'clock, but GPD and the Decatur County Sheriff's Office was involved in a fatal shooting that happened. All law enforcement officials and officers are safe and unharmed, which is I'm a positive, but unfortunately it did result in a tragic outcome based on a release that the state police had sent out, and I don't know if you have it on your website yet or not.
Yes, it's posted now.
So you can go and read the full release. They are the lead agency for the investigation. That's very standard protocol, especially when you have both law enforcement agencies in the county involved with an incident. State police will typically take lead on that, and then in an officer-involved shooting, they typically lead anyway. And so they handle all of the investigations, the follow-up, and the media component as well. So that's why it's coming through them and not through us. It was they've been great to work with. They've been involved with our teams. Our teams have been great. The Decatur County Communications Center, GPD, the Sheriff's Office, Indiana State Police, and then the Crisis Intervention Team has also been involved in that. So lots of, information still to come. And as a community, we should be very grateful for our law enforcement partners and officials that serve us in that capacity. The report, the state police release also says that all officers had operational and worn body cameras. So there's that component as well. When we talk about the need for those, it ensures everyone's safety and compliance and making sure that the right people are held accountable. So we'll let them continue to work on that. But, the positive in this is that all of our law enforcement officials are safe and unharmed.
That's right. So we'll release, as that becomes available from the state police, we'll release more. All details that have been released are out. So.
Yep, that's right.
All right. Very good.
So that was, the big stuff yesterday. And, of course, over the last week, we've made some progress downtown.
Yes. I was just in shock yesterday when I saw one of the intersections open.
Yeah, Broadway in Washington is reopened. Of course, the temporary pavement's sort of in. We are now in the waiting game for a milling machine. That seems to be a very hard item for them to track down at this exact moment, but they're still making great progress. There's still stuff happening downtown. It's a little more open than it has been for a while, so lots of accessibility and everything. We are working towards and marching towards the Fall Festival at a very rapid pace, so it will come together, and it will be great by the time we get there. Main Street has the Let's Go Girls event that is coming up
next weekend?
Next weekend, I think. Yeah, maybe the 6th.
Yes,
I think it's the
right.
6th. So they've got a little bit of time for that. I don't know that they're going to make that, but the Fall Festival will be here before we know it, and it should be a lot of fun, and we're making headway.
So we're down to really the milling machine, the paving. Is that kind of the last piece of this project?
Yeah, there's some landscape work that still needs to be done. There's some work on the west side. We're going to get all the pavers. If you've been down the west side of the square, you start to realize how aged the pavers are. There's some broken ones. The sanding in the joints needs to be redone. We're going to do the crosswalk ramps. So we've added that on. That will be post-Fall Festival at this point, but it will rejuvenate that quite a bit. We've had a lot of things that have flowed down the hill. The dirt and debris has been a little rampant. And so we're going to do full depth patching on Broadway. That should be when the milling machine and paving's here. So I'm under the impression that will be before Fall Festival as well. I think they're going to do all the paving at one time and, make their way up Broadway at the same point.
All right. Got to get that milling machine to town.
That's right. Yeah. If you have one in the barn, you let us know.
That's right. That's
and
what
the crew
we're waiting
to run
on.
it. Right. Of course, we're not directly contracted with them, right? We're with Shooty Excavating. Shooty Excavating's contracted with O'Mara Contractors, and then O'Mara Contractors is contracted with the milling company. So they're a sub to the sub.
It's several layers of
Yes.
contracting happening.
It's a big pile of paper, pretty much.
Yes. It will happen. It will be great. Fall Festival will be here, and it'll be pretty.
That's right. Just hold on. As I've been saying for 2 weeks, just hold on.
Hold on.
We're
It's
almost there. And then we'll be on and off to the next thing.
All right. First Street will they include that with the paving? Is that the same?
Yep, they should. The event, it should move north up Broadway, which they've been doing some work. If you've been up Broadway, you've noticed that the curb ramps are being removed in certain sections as a part of the requirements for CCMG, Community Crossings Matching Grant Funds. If we have curb ramps in the street sections that we're doing, we are required to improve them to current ADA spec. So that's why you'll see just the curb ramp work being done and not full-blown sidewalk. Now on First Street, everything was done because we realigned the drainage, the street and curb elevations, the water flow, stormwater work. So there's more extensive work done up there that resulted in a much larger project. On Broadway, you will see we're just doing curb ramps. So all the way, so in theory, from the hospital up First Street, or from Lincoln Street to up First to Broadway, all the way down to Main Street will all be resurfaced and new curb ramps and improvements made there. And then in addition to all the square work. So in that section, and then South Franklin Street, I think, is on that list too, over sort of in front of Dog-Eared Pages, the bookstore, down that way.
Okay.
Towards the Daily News.
Lots of concrete work to happen.
Lots going on,
Yeah,
which is
there
good.
is.
They do, this morning, I think there's some on North Broadway. I think the concrete excavation company has hit a gas line.
Okay.
And so when Chief Sturmer comes in, I think he's on with you at 8:30.
Yes.
I'm sure he'll have more information and an update on that as to where they are in that process. But maybe just avoid that area for the moment.
Yes.
It's been a hard 6 weeks on utilities in the city of Greensboro.
Hasn't it?
Between fiber boring, mostly fiber boring, and construction work.
Yeah.
That's
It's
just part
okay
of it.
though. We're almost through the season.
We talk about, well, we don't talk about it, but we talk about it internally. People don't realize how much there is in a very small space, tight corridors that run all over the city. So when you talk about water and sewer and storm and fiber and old phone and old internet and gas, your 50-foot right-of-way, which most of it's not under the street anyway, is very full. And especially when you get into older sections of town where the design standards weren't in place, or it's not as deep as it should be, or it's not exactly where it's labeled, it turns out to be quite a kind of spaghetti bowl of things. And then especially when you get into the really old parts of town where literally you have no idea what's under there.
It's just a surprise.
Yeah, cisterns, old storm that nobody knows exist. So I give our utility crews a lot of credit for a lot of work, a lot of hard work. And then, of course, sometimes old infrastructure fails. And we've been prone to that, too. And you just got to kind of keep working on it. You cannot, there's no way, Aaron Schwindeman, the water superintendent, and I were talking about this the other day. There's no way to proactively replace aging water or sewer, but water infrastructure, because we would spend hundreds of millions of dollars, to replace service lines. So you almost kind of have to wait on it to start breaking in order to fix it, because there's stuff in the ground from 1902 that works perfectly fine any and every day, and you don't even think about it. And there's stuff from 1974 that is shattering and falling apart, and vice versa. So you can't. It's really, really hard to proactively do utility improvement infrastructure repair, because you just have to sort of wait to see where the problem is. Unfortunately, the North Broadway section, which we are working on, right, we're in the 50% design phase, is a very well-known problem now. That was not a well-known problem 4 years ago. So we do have to take actions. We do have to take corrective measures, but it's a crowded corridor, and
it's what it is, right?
it is what it is.
We deal with it as it comes.
That's right.
So this morning, a gas leak, right? We believe that's what's happening. So.
I don't think it's not a major issue. It's not something like we dealt with out at Crown Point where it kind of had filled some storm and sanitary sewers. So we're just another day, just a little if it weren't on Broadway, most people probably wouldn't even know it was happening.
All right, we'll deal with that as they continue to
that's
come.
That's right.
All right, what else you got going on?
We had the opportunity I had the opportunity last week to go to the Japan America Society of Indiana's annual dinner, which is great. Honda had a table, so invited me to participate with them, which is fantastic. I think this is the third year I've been to that event. It's a great opportunity to reconnect with our partners, the statewide partners, the governor, secretary of commerce, and the speaker this year was the president of Nippon Steel, which some folks may remember purchased U.S. Steel in a very large acquisition and merger that, of course, had to go through all the approvals at Congress because there was this conversation about national security and U.S. Steel being sold to a foreign-owned entity, and how does that work? So it was approved, and they've made a commitment to invest, I think, $3 billion into the Gary, Indiana steel facility, which is a huge investment. The mayor of Gary spoke about what the importance of that is for the community, and the governor spoke about the connection with Japan and Indiana. So the dinner was really well received. Had a great conversation. Honda and others in our community, but do purchase from U.S. Steel, so there's that connection as well. But I thought it was really interesting when they were talking about the Nippon Steel is the third largest steel producer in the world by weight, and U.S. Steel, I think, was like 44th.
Okay.
The top two was China, Nippon Steel, which is Japanese owned, and then the next 5 or 7 were Chinese owned. And with the combination of Nippon and U.S. Steel, Nippon Steel still remains in third.
Really?
So they're so far behind first and second that by acquiring U.S. Steel, they didn't move up a rank.
It didn't change anything.
And I think that when we talk about the national security component, Japan has been an ally of ours, not only with Indiana, but the U.S. for decades. And we, I think, probably find value, and I'm sure folks in Congress analyze that as well, right? And that they didn't move up. And when you have 1, 2, and then 4 through 9, all owned by what some would consider not as much of an ally, then I think that helps show that. And then I also think, and I think their commitment's $11 billion into the U.S. Steel facilities across the country, 3 in Indiana. And when you hear the Mayor Gary talking about what that means and the impact that has, and then you hear Nippon Steel's side of it, that they want to be a partner, that they're excited to continue to grow Japanese businesses in Indiana, I think that all of that pulls in the right direction. What most people don't realize is that Indiana is the highest Japanese investment per capita state in the country. There's 100,000 Hoosiers that work for Japanese-owned companies. And we are the only state in the United States that has all 3 of the major Japanese car manufacturers in Honda, Toyota, and Subaru.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not realize that. I didn't realize Indiana was that, I guess, heavy hitter.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
We're very well connected, very intertwined with, and it generates a lot for the economy. Of course, we have a lot of Japanese-owned companies here in Decatur County.
We do. We have several.
Yeah, most people don't realize that we have so many, and we're grateful for their partnerships. They're great partners. They employ a lot of folks and make a lot of great quality parts and pieces and components, and it's always kind of fun to go reconnect with all of them as well.
And you'll be you're going to Japan soon.
Yeah, we're going to attend the Japan America Midwest Conference, where it's 10 states, and so we'll be doing that here in September.
Very good. So when you go over there, is it connecting with a lot of the companies that are already here, or is this a different set of people that you're meeting with?
Yeah, it's both. We definitely want to visit with all of ours. The conference consumes a big portion of our time, which is good because that allows us to do the outreach component in a much more casual but structured way. And we can meet with and expose Indiana and Decatur County to new industries. But it also gives us an opportunity to connect with those that are already here. We do make a pretty concerted effort to reach out and connect one-on-one with the companies that are already in Decatur County, thank them for their partnership, talk about what we're working on the ground, education, workforce development, childcare, housing, all of the things that they are very interested in as it helps their workforce stability as well. And then we talk a little bit about, the utility work, the infrastructure work that is continuing to support changes coming into the market as we think about labor developments or labor constrictions. But it's a little bit of both. We have the opportunity. We go independently, but we go as a region, and then we also go as a state. So we're the Decatur County delegation, and then we are a part of the South Central Indiana Economic Development Group, which includes Bartholomew County, Jennings County, Jackson County, and the mayors of Columbus, Seymour, Greensburg are all going from that. And then we also have one Southern, which is the 3-county economic development region that is north of Louisville and Jeffersonville, and then the River Ridge Redevelopment Commission. So that sort of is our smaller core local group that we are a part of year round, but and especially on this. And then, of course, we go as a part of the Indiana delegation. So the Indiana Economic Development Corp's Japanese office is hosting 2 events for the Indiana delegations while we're there. One is during the conference so that we can welcome all of those. But then a large base for Indiana-owned Japanese companies actually in Nagoya, which is about an hour and a half by Shinkansen, which is the bullet train south of Tokyo. And so we go there, and that's home to Toyota, and then some of the other really big Japanese-owned companies that have a very large footprint in Indiana. Honda is based in Tokyo, so we visit with them there. Nipro in Westport, we used to visit with them. They're in Osaka, so we'll definitely chat with them. Of course, they've got their big expansion still going on, and the last time we were there, they were very grateful that for the first time in 30-plus years, someone come to see them. And so we're glad to reignite that. They have a little bit of a younger CEO that was really great to kind of chat with and talk with what's the future of their glass and pharmaceutical division, because it is a fraction of what they do as a company.
Very good. A lot of networking to happen.
Yes. And it pays a lot of dividends, I think. We've had some great visits with folks that were here looking at expansions from companies that are already here. When we were there last time, we had the opportunity to talk with them, reinforce that. They came back. We had some opportunities that just didn't quite pan out due to some changes at the federal level. But I'm optimistic that we will continue to pursue great relationships. And that is a very, very high point in relationships in the Japanese business culture, is making sure that you know who you're working with, and it's not as much about just what it looks like on paper.
Very good. We'll be interested to hear when you come back.
Yeah, it'll be good.
All right. Any meetings this last week?
Not this last week, but next week's the busy one.
It's the marathon.
That's right. So, of course, Monday is Labor Day. So offices and trash service are closed and delayed until Tuesday. So just be planning and preparing for that a little bit. I think everybody generally has Labor Day as one of those holidays. It's not one of those odd government holidays that you're like, oh, I forgot. But yeah, just so we're aware, trash will be picked up on Tuesday. As a reminder, Rumpke on the recycling follows our same schedule. So just be prepared for that, and have a great, safe Labor Day weekend, of course. Tuesday is Super Tuesday. We will not have a water board meeting, though, so they just don't have any business to consider. So we will not have that, but then we will have our others. And hopefully it won't take too long. That's the plan. But Wednesday night is the Board of Works and City Council meeting due to travel. We've had to slide those up a week, so we'll get those out of the way. Doesn't look like a ton on Board of Works, and then Council's sort of just dealing with our end of year. As we start to hit the deadlines for the end of the year, that is starting here in September, which is hard to believe.
It is. It's been a very quick year. Budget-wise, you guys where are you at with budget?
We are going through the reading processes now, but in all intensive purposes, it has been set. The council has looked at, reviewed, we've done the workshops, and we are now, again, just hitting those deadlines for the end of the year.
All right. Ready money, I know downtown, we've talked as a Ready project. Any changes to that? As I know it's been an interesting year with the Ready money.
It has been. There has been some good progress made on getting those funds released. IEDC, under the new governor, made a lot of just across-the-board sweeping, place things on pause. And so it has been 6 months of unknown and idling, and we are starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I think there's some things that have started to break loose, which include pre-approval letters, work to be done that will help advance those projects. The Ironman Properties project in downtown that we've sort of just stopped talking about because every time it was no update. The good news is there's an update, and the redevelopment tax credits that Ironman have applied to through the Indiana Economic Development Corp were approved on Monday, which is great because last week at the Japan dinner, I mentioned the Secretary of Commerce, he was introduced, and I've only met him in passing one time. Of course, he's new this year. And so when they reintroduced him to the crowd, I made a very distinct note about which table he was sitting at. And when it was over, I tracked him down in a non-stalkerish but aggressive fashion to talk to him about the importance of that project and how the redevelopment tax credits, because they've kind of thrown that program into a little bit of a tailspin in that they're putting it on pause. It will come off of pause in like July of next year when the budget year resets. And I wanted to be sure that, but there was some wording in there about projects that had already been submitted, which ours had been. So I wanted to sort of make sure he understood, one, the importance, and two, that we would like to really not get kicked till July. And he had given me some direction on how to reach out to him and kind of talk about that yet this week, which is on my list of things to do today, because on Monday, that was last Wednesday or Thursday, right? On Monday, they were approved. So that's great.
That's great news.
I know there's a lot of people working to help move that ball across the finish line, but I always like to think that, those one-on-one, in-person interactions of just 5 minutes, 4 minutes of here's why it's important makes a difference. So
optimizing an opportunity.
Yeah, there you go. And with that moves the ball on that project very significantly. Our development partners are very happy with that news. Our region's very happy with that news. And so I think we will start to see the Redevelopment Commission taking some actions on property disposals, et cetera, now that we, in theory, have the capital stack in place. And that project, 100 beds in downtown at market rate, walkability, a different style of housing option, I think is a catalyst project to helping continue to grow and develop our central core of the city.
Exciting move.
It is. We're very happy about that. We've been working on it for three or 4 years now.
It seems like a really long time, but it's coming. It's coming to fruition.
Yeah. And it's always one of those things where time goes fast and slow at the same time. It's like, it seems like we just started talking about this. It seems like we were just starting the process, but it's been a really long time. And then, sometimes folks say, well, it seems like this just came out of nowhere. We've been working on this for a long time. And a lot of these things take a couple years, unfortunately, to get the ball moving.
Here it comes.
That's right. Which is great.
That's right. It's on its way. We still farmers market still happening. The Let's Go Girls event coming up. Yeah,
Main Street's got a lot going on, of course, and not to again talk about snow, but the holiday walk. They're in the planning phases of that.
I know, my goodness.
Yeah,
already.
That first Saturday in December. We'll be here before we know it. Of course, but they've really made a lot of progress. The Let's Go Girls is a great event. there's tickets available. There's benefits of having a ticket, but it's a downtown kind of like sip and shop type event. You can customize it to how you would like, but I would highly encourage you to check out Main Street's page. I know, again, Dog-Eared Pages was really working on their windows and painting windows. I think there's a window component to the Let's Go Girls event.
Okay.
So you might check that out in downtown. Appreciate all the businesses that are helping and supporting that. There's been great donations and donors and people staying open and participating. So, as we talk about vitality of downtown, these events are really important. It's sort of modeled after, of course, Taylor Swift's in the news.
Yes, we've heard.
Her and Cracker Barrel are just consuming all minutes of the airwaves. But they had this kind of Swifty fest in some other communities last year before, and of course we had the tribute band Taylor Swift out at the summer concert series earlier this year to rave reviews, even though it was pouring down rain. But it's much more broad than that, right? It's not Swift oriented, but it is sort of in that guise. So should be a lot of fun and a new event for Main Street.
That's right. Exciting growth happening.
That's right. So, yeah, go check that out. And then, of course, a farmer's market goes on for quite a while yet. There's still a lot of vendors. I know sometimes folks think, well, it's late in the year, there won't be any vendors. No, there's still a lot of vendors down there. So go check that out. And
as they transition into fall, you'll see pumpkins and other fall-type items that show up at the market.
I saw at the store the other day for the first time this year, mums.
Did you?
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen any yet.
Not time for that yet.
I'm still in the summer mode.
Right.
I know I've got to shift gears, but I'm not there yet.
No, not quite.
No, not happening. Anything else coming up for us?
I don't think so. I think that's it. We'll be back next week after the meetings and wrap those up and talk about that.
So you brought up Cracker Barrel. So let's just get your opinion on this logo.
Oh, I don't know. That was not on my bingo card of random topics this morning.
It wasn't?
No, but I don't know. They've obviously reversed course. I think their market shares are back up, and the world is good. There's opportunity there. The rebrand does seem to modernize it, right? And I think that was what they were going for. But I think it's interesting when you have a major corporation like that actually reverse course on something like that. It seems to be behind the scenes. Maybe there was a lot more realism in the outcry component. So I don't know. We'll see. I noticed when I was driving on the interstate this weekend that all the billboards had already been updated with the new logo.
Really?
Yeah.
I was really surprised at the backlash. I guess maybe I don't pay enough attention to detail that it would have impacted me as it did some. But
I've been told that the one in Shelbyville is the new version on the inside, but I haven't been able to. I don't go to Cracker Barrel, so not my thing. But I think they're obviously trying to attract a younger demographic and a younger market, and places like IHOP and even Bob Evans to some extent have taken that different approach to sort of more of a fast casual restaurant.
Right.
Think Zaxby's, Chick-fil-A, and maybe like Raising Cane's, like those kind, like Chipotle. Like it's a little more streamlined, a little more modern, and I think they're trying to tap into that market. This concept of full service sit down restaurants is a very expensive overhead market to be in, and I mean I honestly think all they're trying to do is grow their market share by bringing it a little more into what people that between the ages of 40 and 60 are looking for. So I don't know if the logo makes that much of a difference. I think maybe the store renovation remodel concept probably helps move that needle more than what the sign looks like.
We'll see what happens, won't we?
Yeah. It's there was also the discussion. I am very confident that they did not do it for the publicity. But then
yes, because what their speculation
is that they just did it to, they've gotten hundreds of millions of dollars worth of publicity out of this, right? Everybody's talking about it. There's individuals that are creating other logos. Everybody's talking about Cracker. We're talking about Cracker Barrel. Right. In the 6 years I've been doing this show, we've never uttered the words Cracker Barrel.
Right.
But here we are. And so I don't think that was probably why they did it. I think
if so, that would have been a very pricey move. But
yeah. And what if it didn't get a backlash? Are you going to do it, So I don't think that was the case. But maybe when you look at the spreadsheet, it's like, well, actually, it wasn't a pricey move, and we'd do something else later.
And that's right. We'll
So.
see. Well, there you go. See, there was our opinion for the morning.
That's right.
All right. It's Tree Country 1330 News up next.